All right.
Hello, Scott.
Hey.
How are you?
It's a bit weird to say hey Jay.
Yeah, it is a bit weird.
I was thinking about that in emails and I can't say hey Jay. It sounds a bit weird. So say hi.
Yeah, hi.
Say hey to everyone else.
Yeah.
Hey Jay.
That's a weird start.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think.
You go.
Yeah, I think so. No, you go, because yours is normally better than mine.
No, I didn't have anything. I was going to say you've got a big list of notes, so off you go.
Yeah, no, what I was going to say was tell us about your round on Saturday. So what we know to be true is that you had 77. No, 77?
So, yeah, 77. Yeah.
77, 6 over par.
Yeah.
With 2 triple bogeys.
Yeah.
So that's critical. And one of them on a par 5. So that's really bad. And the other one on 18, which, yeah, sounds like a bit of a stuff up. Like it was a bogey at worst.
Yeah.
So how did the plan go? Apart from the 2 triples.
First of all, why does it matter what the par is?
Well, because you made 2 triples,
Yeah.
which is
said
plus 6.
Yeah, but you said on... No, you said about triple, you said on par 5 is
Well,
worse.
because you can get to a par 5, it's particularly that one, in 2 shots.
Yeah.
So it's actually a par 4 really, and you've made us an 8.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's actually really like a quad.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
The plan was great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was it hard to stick to?
No.
No. Was it nice to actually have a definitive plan rather than just rock up and hit it somewhere?
Yeah. There was only a couple of holes where it really made a big difference. 1 and 2 where I might have thought about hitting driver.
Yeah.
The rest of them, I'm going to hit driver anyway.
And they were all
Probably
driver anyway, weren't they?
Yeah. 10 was the only real decision. And the pin was at the front and decided to hit driver. Based on the same reasons I think we spoke about last week. But it was probably nice to have an aiming point and go, okay, cool. So normally down the couple of racecourse holes with racecourse on the left, I'd kind of aim left side of the fairway and try and hit a fade away from that.
Yeah.
And occasionally get the one. I don't hit left
No, you're
that
blowing me,
often.
man, I'm out.
Don't hit it left that often, but it was nice to aim away from that and really take the left out of play altogether.
Yeah.
So, yeah, nothing drastically changed, but it was nice to have a plan. And even just having the tee shot plan was enough for me to think about every shot. I think that was probably where it was most critical, was the approach shots and going, okay, hit to the fat side of the green. Let's leave myself. If it's 40 feet, I'm better to have 40 feet from on the green than 6 metres, but
A short-sided
downhill.
chip.
Yeah. So plan was good. Execution was probably execution. Yeah, was poor obviously with the triples. Overall execution was okay.
Yeah. Well, what I was getting at with those triples is if you take those 2 out, you're even par.
Yeah.
And I know that there's the big ifs and whats and buts and all that stuff, but just going back to your point, you reminded me a second ago when you said the holes with the OB.
Yeah.
And for those that don't know, Tauranga, the OB flanks the left-hand side of the course most of the day. So left is obviously trouble. But if I can show people that.
We'll put a little screenshot up of that maybe.
Will we?
Yeah.
Okay. So that's the driving data, which you only
me?
hit. Yeah, of you.
Yes, there's only one left.
One left, yeah,
Yeah.
which, that's not enough data. It's a small sample size of maybe 10 drives. But if that was consistent, well, then the decision-making might change a little bit on some of those. In fact, this should be an easy course for you to play because...
So that's where I was a bit unsure, and that's why I do normally aim down the left to hit that. So what was probably tough to commit to was knowing that I hit the ball, or most of them go right, was aiming at the right side of the fairway on 11, 13, 15.
Yeah.
Because normally I'd aim at the left side of the fairway and try to work it back into the fairway. I know that's your final target, but it was still probably further right than where I'd normally aim.
Yeah, right. And that's where you can start to use the data that you've got to inform the decisions rather than just a blanket aim here and you've got 30 yards both sides. Like you might get to the point where you go, sweet, I'm going to push the boundaries a little bit if there's trouble left, but if there's trouble right, maybe not. So quite interesting. Are you playing this Saturday?
Not playing this Saturday.
Why not?
Helping someone move house.
Oh, who's moving house?
Leachy.
Oh, I'm away this weekend.
Yeah, I thought you might be.
Yeah, sorry, Mike.
One thing on the data though, I didn't hole many putts. I actually hit a lot of greens for me. Hit 12 out of 18 greens. And I feel like I got ripped off on one of them on the 13th. Pin was at the front, and I had to lay up and left myself about 60 metres into the green. So I planned on landing at about 5 metres short, because if I land on the green where the pin was, it was going to roll over the back of the firm greens. So I tried to land it short, and it had a really soft bounce and trickled up. So it was short, it was a missed green. It was a pretty simple two-putt from where I was. It didn't count as a green, but I feel like I had 13 out of 18 greens.
Yeah, that's strong.
Which is quite high for me. Normally, if I hit 10, it's usually pretty good.
Yeah, one of the good things around Upgame, which is the data platform that we both use, is you can do this as a coach. Again, we should put a screenshot up of this. Is we can do a shot tracker for all the data that you put in. So good from a coaching point of view, because I can see what you did. But if we go to the 13th hole, you can look and see how much, what you actually lost from that missed green.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have been as much as you might think if it was close enough to the flag. Like,
I don't feel like I lost anything, and that's why I say I feel like it was 13 greens hit, because I left it in a place that it was a metre off the green, flat, and it was, 25 feet to the flag. So
which is why greens in regulation, it's not a bad baseline stat, but on its own, it's not enough. Because would you rather be there, or even, would you rather be there or right on the back edge of the green 60 feet away? Well, statistically speaking, 100% of the time you'd rather be where you were than the 60 feet. So, and even the other one is fairways in regulation, that they'd like such a waste of a stat.
Yeah, I never count them.
No, neither.
That's why I say I feel like I got ripped off on the greens and rig stat, because I actually had a good shot to where I was
13's a lot of
trying
greens,
to hit
though.
it. Yeah, it was.
Peter Fowler, who is a wonderful player, he used to say, if you hit 12 greens, you should shoot 3 under par.
That went through my head when you told me that before.
Now, I'm just trying to do the maths in my head while I think about saying that, but
he can putt.
He can chip
really well.
So that might be extreme. But even if you said 12 greens should be even par.
Yeah.
So if you miss 6, you get 50% of them up and down. That's okay. That's 3 bogeys, 3 pars, and you make 3 birdies. That's even par.
Yeah.
The critical thing for you would be, how many birdies did you make?
2.
What holes?
8 and 5.
Nice. 5's a strong birdie.
Yeah, entered the 2s this week.
Good
got my
decision.
2 got my 2 on the par 3.
So 2's probably, I would imagine, from what I've played with you, you'd normally make more than 2, but your putting probably didn't hole a putt outside of 10 feet, so that's going to be really hard. You have to stump it all day to make more than 2, so you probably did well to make 2 birdies, to be honest.
I did.
With that data, that's exciting. Why are you playing? You're helping Leachy move house. That sucks.
Not for Leachy. Sucks for me.
Yeah, it sucks for you. It's good for Leachy. It's a shame I'm away. That guy. But no, I think it'll be good to watch your progress and start to see with Upgame, start to get some trends and see where you're at.
So you've had a little look at the data. What would you say are going with? Or not really?
I haven't had a massive look.
Okay.
But the immediate thing that came to mind was your approach play surprised me just then when you said you hit 13 greens, because I do remember your approach play not being fantastic.
But that might have been something, and it's one round, so take that for what it is. But that probably had the plan probably had a big part to play in that.
Yeah.
So actually making a concerted decision to aim for the fat of the green, and on 15 I had a club short of where I needed to be, didn't quite hit it that well, so ended up like a club and a half short of the flag, but was still on the fat side of the green. So hard a putt, but it was never in trouble.
So from 100 from 100 to 150 metres, you hit 10 shots from that range.
Yeah.
And lost almost 1.6 shots. So that would be a range where you go, let's filter that and have a little bit of a look, because
I can go 2 right now. Well, one was on 7, where I think I hit 135 metre. I think I hit it 80 metres.
Right.
So I would have lost almost a full shot there. And then I hit one on the 11th, where I had to play a little bit of a recovery shot almost under a tree.
Yeah.
Could see the green, but...
Did you tick recovery on any of them?
On the ones where I couldn't hit the green, I did.
Yeah, so because they won't be factored into that.
Oh, okay.
I don't think they'll
No,
come
I
under
didn't
approach.
put recovery for that one, I don't think.
What about on 7?
Oh, no, because it was a clear shot.
But that, yeah, right. How far did you have there?
135.
On 7?
Yeah.
Oh, for your third
Third,
shot.
yeah.
Right. Yeah, that wasn't a recovery shot.
No,
No.
it was,
Right.
it was a straight up pitching wedge.
Do you know, I'm looking at the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, I knew that it was 10. I just did that before. Of the 10 shots, of those approach shots that we filtered, 7 of them were short. No, 8 of them were short of the pin. And interestingly, so there is a bit of a correlation between how many shots go, this is for all golfers, but how many shots go 90% of the intended distance.
Yeah.
And it drops off, like I think scratch players from 100 to 150, 82% of their shots will go 90% of the total distance. So if you're hitting at 100, 82 of their shots will go at least 90. Whereas for 20 handicappers, it'll only be 60% of the shots. And a little bit of that will have to do with strike. But on all shots, for scratch golfers, it's 72% of their shots will go 90% of the distance. But for 20 handicappers, only 48%. And I think that is a bit of a trend that you do see with a lot of golfers, as underclubbing or coming up short, could be mishits, but factoring all that stuff in. So, I just thought that was interesting. And then to look at yours, and 8 out of those 10 are short.
There might be a couple of things in that. One would be a lot of greens are probably sloped back to front.
Mm-hmm.
So it's never good to be long.
Isn't it?
On those.
Never.
I'd rather have an uphill putt than a downhill putt.
Have you ever seen that ESPN Sports Science clip where it says downhill putts? The science would say downhill putts go in more than uphill.
Yeah, I have seen that.
Yeah.
But then TrackMan say the opposite.
Yeah. So because I was going to say that, what do you think about that?
But on this one, if I just think about the pins, 2 was at the back, 3 was at the back, 5 was at the back, 9 was at the back, 12 was at the back, 15 was at the back.
Yeah, every 3 holes will be at the back. My counter to that is one of the beautiful things about Up Game is that you put a target in.
Yeah.
So to your actual pin, you were short 80% of the time, but to your target pin, you were short 70% of the time. So even with that, because I'm assuming you're not trying to hit it to those back pins.
Yeah, so that's where I was. That's what I was going to with that. Is that I wasn't trying to get near, because I bet last week.
Yeah, you would have been.
I would have been 50%, but they were horrific.
The pins. Yeah. And I probably wasn't directed at you as much as, a lot of golfers probably overestimate how far they hit it, especially this time of year when it's cold and often wet and windy. And
you had a go at me last week when I said I don't hit that far, and I hit it.
You do
twice.
though. You do though, you idiot. But yeah, so that's one of the good things about Up Game is not only do you get the data for the pin, but you get the data for where you aimed. But yeah, anyway, I just thought that was quite interesting. And something else you said in there, but I've forgotten what it was.
Probably a good thing.
Yeah. That's good though.
Yeah.
It's good to see you thinking a bit more.
Thinking a bit, you can probably just leave it there.
Yeah. Speaking of other golfers who aren't particularly smart. George Wardell popped in.
Yeah.
And I think next week he's quite keen to come over on Monday and do a long drive session while we do a podcast with him sort of doing that in the background. So that'll be quite cool. And I was thinking, I wonder if we do that live.
Yeah.
That'd be quite cool. And we'll have a challenge of dulling. Have you heard him hit it in an enclosed space? It's allowed, so we'll have to.
Yeah, it's not nice.
We'll have to just maybe mute the microphone every time he goes to hit. So that'll be cool, having him here. What else? Anything else?
I was going to bring up
No.
something from last week. No, nothing, not for you this time. Bryson shot 58 at the Live Golf event.
Yep.
It was a week old. He followed his round before of 61 with a 58.
Yeah, it's
I'd
impressive.
love to know how many times that was done, or what the best two-round score. 119 over the weekend.
Yeah.
And Royal Tauranga is pretty tough test, so it might not be the best comparison, but the leader of the stroke play was 156 after 2 rounds
Yeah.
at our club champ. So if you want a club to come and play at,
Could be this.
it might be this one. 119 over 2 rounds. It's pretty
Yeah.
impressive. So she's 61.58. I want to go a couple of directions with this. The first one is he actually talked about, in an interview afterwards, about encouraging people to play off the forward tees so that you get used to being, or get comfortable being 6, 7, 8 under. I probably still don't have the skill level to, I'd have to go off maybe the 90 marker to have a chance at that. You still have to be incredibly skillful, but for good young players to actually play the forward tees to get to 6, 7, 8 and go, this isn't it, keep going, because that was what he said his mindset was. When he saw he was 8, 9 under, he goes, cool, keep going. It was never enough.
Yeah.
So have you got any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I love that for heaps of reasons. You actually said something last week. I don't know if it was in the podcast or just when we were chatting, but we were talking about data and comparative data, like a 20 handicapper, say, I'm thinking of a member here, 20 handicapper, and he probably hits the ball further than I do. So just based on handicap, my dad may be on a 20 and hits the ball as far as my 8-iron with the driver. So hard to compare those two. But you said comparison with club speed would be interesting, and I reckon that's gold, because then you're sort of starting to get down into the skill level. But the other part would be junior coaching in Operation 36 and starting off. So the philosophy behind Operation 36 is you start from 25 yards, and every hole's 25 yards, which is literally 10 metres off the front of the green on most holes. And the goal is to shoot 36 for 9 holes. Once you do that, you graduate to 50 yards. Once you do that, you go to, I think, 150, and then 300. It jumps a little bit after that. But I reckon that is the absolute best way to teach golf and to play golf. And it's got so much stuff that's backed up by science around reducing the size of the field, I guess, or the course in our case. And then I think about it for, let's say, again, use my dad, who the first hole here, in a context, 300 metre par 4, you can drive it on the green. He's probably driver and a 5 wood if he gets 2 good ones. And that's a short hole, so think of a hole like 15 or 16. He's probably got 3 shots to get to the green. I just think, and for a junior, again, go back to the juniors, there's a wee man here who's really good and swings it pure and hits it good, but he probably takes 6 shots to get to the first green from the tee. So he goes driver, 3 wood, 3 wood, 3 wood, 3 wood. Imagine how fucking boring that would be playing golf if you went driver and then hit 5 of the same shots, flush them all, 5 3 woods in a row. So I would love, forgetting the fact of learning how to shoot 58, and yes, I do think that's gold and critical, but we have a junior tees here, which are purple tees. They're not junior tees, they're purple tees, but the average par 4 is probably 180 metres, par 3s are maybe 50 to 70, par 5s, I don't know, 200 and maybe a bit longer than that, because the one on 6, you couldn't get there in one hit.
No.
Hey, so But I reckon if we started golf again, we should do, to your point, almost like, how far do you hit it off the tee? 120 metres, perfect. Purple tees for you. And people would enjoy golf so much more, I reckon,
I agree.
than battling away. If you can hit it far enough, then, by all means, play off the back tees and increase your skill level. But I think there's times when you want to play off the back tees. Like if I go to Kinloch, and I know that the front tees are easier, but I just want to go and play off the back tees and, get beaten up a bit, and that's fun. But I think the front tees are gold.
Yeah, I was quite late into golf and maybe not so up with all the traditions and things like that, but I think everyone should have the opportunity to make a par.
Yeah.
Like the other downsides of hitting 3-wood is they get to putt and they're putting for an 8, and that mean they don't care about that. Means nothing.
Yeah.
But the Operation 36, they've got a birdie putt or an eagle putt, and you go, oh man, this is for 2 under, and all of a sudden it means something.
Yeah.
Whereas I got a putt for an 8. Man, I've already had so many shots on the side, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
Having this argument about with the club members about playing off the white or the blue tees, and I want to play the blue tees because we want to challenge ourselves, and say, well, you shoot 95. To me, it's already a challenge, and that's okay. But don't you want to allow yourself to have more par opportunities, or make 2 birdies in a round? And that to me is what I think I see golf being, like having the opportunity to make par. And I'd love it if the tees were pushed forward and you turn up and you might have a TrackMan report and you give it to the pro, and the pro says, here you go, play off these tees. I think these ones will be the best. And the club speed, like I've said to you, is a great way to measure where your potential is. And I think that's maybe why I progressed quite quickly when I started playing golf, because I hit it everywhere. I started on a 25 handicap, but it didn't take long for it to come down, because the one day where you hit everything well and you figure out how it goes straight for one day and you think you've solved golf, you have a really low score, and then you go back to spraying it. But having the club head speed allows you to shoot those, or the potential to be so much better.
Well, so as you say, translates to distance. And let's say my dad again, he's not going to, he can't shoot those scores now, just based on he does not have the speed. But to your point, why not play off the 4T? It'd just be more interesting too, I reckon.
If we played with your dad, I would love it, rather than him being off a 17 handicap maybe now.
Something like that,
So rather than giving him 17 shots, we'll just say we'll play off scratch, but you get to play off the purple tees, or we'll figure out where that distance is, and we play off the stick. So all of a sudden he gets a chance to drive it on one as well, and if he hits a good one, he's got an eagle putt. Now all of a sudden we're going, oh man, we're in trouble here. So I would, I'd love that.
I know a lot of the courses now don't have blue and white tees. They have 5,500 yards and 4,500 yards. But I think that would be, I'd love that. But I feel like we're too old now. The sport's been around too long. There's too much history. There's ego involved, and no one wants to play that far forward. I'd love to do it just as a day. Go, right, we're having a day here where it's purple tee day. Everyone does black tee day. Why not do purple tee day?
And the other one is as well is the female tees. Typically, we're trying to get away from calling them the ladies' tees.
So you call them female tees instead. Well played.
But if I have the ability to say, I can drive the first green here, there might be how many guys in the club that could drive the first green?
Not many.
But there's a handful. So let's say there's 5. We should find the 5 longest female hitters. See how far they hit it and set their tees there. And go, now equally you've got 5 guys and 5 girls who can drive the first green. That's where you're going to play, and I think they'd enjoy it so much more, because at the moment, if you're a female and you bomb it, whoop-de-doo, you still might hit a long club into a par 4 where some of the guys get to drive it because their tees are at the same place as you effectively at a course like this.
We were talking last week about Minjee Lee, And I think I said to you, she would have won every category, strokes gained or proximity to the hole from 100 to 200 metres on the PGA Tour last year. She would have beaten all the men.
Yeah.
So to that point of then now you feel like you're testing skill, not just speed. Do you know one thing? This is off the subject actually, but Webby said it today that he parred the number one stroke hole, and I had to let it slide because I was busy doing something.
You shouldn't have.
But the number one stroke hole is not the hardest hole on the course.
No.
It is purely a match play number. And in fact, in many ways, the par threes are the hardest.
Yeah.
And that's why and from a match play point of view, that's why they're often at the upper end of the scale. But just thinking about you, then thinking about the hard holes, and we'd be saying I parred the number one stroke hole. You know, if you think about most number one stroke holes are on par fives, so they should be the easiest to par if you have a level of speed. But either way,
one of the course raters, actually David Mowat it was, that told me, loves the history of the game and rules. He told me easy way to sort of figure out on the course what will be the number one is pick the hole you've got more chance to stuff it up. So for here, it's our 13th.
Yeah.
There's lots of, every single shot you could stuff up because you got the race course all up the left, you got trees up the right. Whereas the 9th hole might be our 18th stroke hole. It's like a 170 metre par 3, hitting full 6 iron, full 5 iron into it. But there's not many chances to stuff it up. Your dad could just bunt his driver or 3-wood up there, chip it on, make his 4 pretty easily. There's not many chances to stuff it up, whereas he's got to hit 4 or 5 good shots down 13. Yeah.
But it's only relevant if you're playing match plays, is where the stroke holes come in, because you think about if Webby hits a good drive down 13, say the hole's 475 metres and he hits a 200 metre drive, well, he's got now 275 metres to go, and he hits a good 3-wood. Let's say that goes 175 metres to go. Now he's got 100 metres to go. But on the 9th hole, so his regulation shot is 100 metres, whereas on the 9th hole, he's always got 175 metres. Yeah. If you play the 13th hole and hit 2 good shots, you're putting for eagle, whereas your shot for eagle on the 9th hole is 173 metres, whether you like it or not. So, the number one stroke hole is a frustrating thing around people's mindset that it is the hardest hole. Yeah. And sorry, Webby, sure it was a great par you made. Bless you.
I never.
Was it a birdie? Was it a birdie?
I wasn't here. I always missed that part. I never intended it to go this way, but when I first started playing golf, I played in some handicap competitions, and I'm on a 10 handicap and you're on a 4 handicap, say. So I thought that I got the shots on holes 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 because we both get shots on 1 to 4.
Yeah.
But it doesn't work that way.
No, it
doesn't. I think that would just add a new element to it. Yeah. Because you both get the shots on that on the ones you'd normally get shots on, and then I get the ones that...
Yeah. I play golf with a couple of guys who are golfers, like 13 handicappers, but don't play traditional club golf. They just play with their mates when they're away, and we played a 4-ball match play. And my partner was going, "Are you scoring this fucking right? Every time I've got a putt, you say it doesn't mean anything." And he was getting really angry with me, and it was hard to explain to him around, no, what I'm doing is I'm giving him a certain amount of shots, but he's like, "But I'm on a 13 handicap." I was like, "You relax, man. Just trust me." But it is quite counter, to what you think.
I still get confused.
Yeah.
Luckily, I'm not very good and it doesn't matter so often.
Yeah. You don't play much club stuff?
No, I don't play any club stuff. The other direction I was going to go with the Bryson thing is... So at 58, there's been 4 58s on major tours.
Yeah.
Jim Furyk on the PGA Tour, Bryson on the Live Tour, and there was 2 on the Japanese Tour.
Right.
Ryo Ishikawa had one back in 2010, and there's one in 2021, I think it was. There's been 17 59s.
Far out.
Yeah, it's been a few now. 7 of them have been on par 72s.
Right.
5 on par 71s, and then the rest, which must be 5 more on par 70s. Bryson's 58 was on par 70. Do you think it loses some of its... Yes,
it does.
It does. Yeah.
Sort of. Some of it. Yeah.
Why?
Well, because it's a really good question as to why. Because there was probably still 4 par 3s and only 2 par 5s, and those guys do all their scoring on par 5s, and on par 3s often PGA Tour players actually average over par. So in theory, it should be equally as hard. But yeah, for whatever reason, it's only 12 under rather than 14 under.
Yeah, that's kind of the argument that I would make, and I don't really care either way.
No,
but,
neither.
But
I've had 58 every time I've played. It's not that big a deal.
The argument that... We'll come back to that comment in a second, remind me. The argument that I might make is if it's a par 73, I'd argue that it's easier to go because now you've got 5 par 5s where if you're a tour professional, you're going to have 5 eagle putts.
Especially if you're Bryson.
Interestingly, he used a crank driver, used a long driver for that round.
I heard you say that.
Put in the bag. So went back to that, and the highlights I saw had a couple around the 190 ball speed, but has dialed it back a little bit. He did say he experimented and sprayed it, and we talked about, I think our first podcast, about him not finding a driver that had the right bulge and roll to fit where his dispersion should be. So maybe that's why I went back to his crank. His crank driver.
Before you go to where I know you're going, on that low weekend scores, I reckon Josh Geary holds a record on the Corn Ferry Tour. I tried to find it the other day, but I couldn't. But I'll reach out to Josh and see. But I'm pretty sure he holds the record for the Saturday-Sunday low-scoring weekend on the Corn Ferry Tour. I want to say he went either 62, 61 or 63, 62 or something. So, yeah, pretty cool. He can play.
Very good. He can play.
I said 58. I shot 58 every time I've played.
Yeah, one more thing before we get to that. I had a quick look through Wikipedia. We don't usually do a lot of research for these podcasts, which we should probably start doing. What course do you think has the most sub 60 rounds on professional tours in the world?
Do I know it?
Yeah, I think
I don't watch golf.
I think you do.
No, I don't know.
Tauranga Golf Club.
Is it?
359s.
Well, that makes sense. But when you said major tours, I was thinking...
I said major tours for the other thing. This was international professional tours.
Right. Yeah. Would you call it a tour? Yeah, okay.
It's called the Charles Tour, so you kind of have to call it a tour.
On Wikipedia, isn't it?
Yeah. I was scrolling through and Richard Lee popped up.
Yeah.
He had 59 around here.
Yeah.
And Mark Brown's done it a couple of times.
Yeah. Do you know the cool thing about when Brownie did it is he started on 11.
Yeah, the cooler thing.
What?
Is that was my first day of work here.
Was it?
Yeah. Back in 2014. Yeah.
Shit. So he started on 11 and he went par bogey, and then I reckon he played 13 to 18 and he came off 1 under maybe after those 8 holes. And, the usual miserable Brownie. How you going? Yeah, thinking shit. But, miserable up to the tee. And then played the last 10 holes in 10 under par, which is 29.
For 10 holes.
The par for 10 holes here, the front 9, is 39.
Yeah.
And, so he shot 29 for 10 holes. So I know plenty of people have broken 30 for 9 holes.
Yeah.
I don't know too many that have broken it for 10 holes. So that's pretty impressive. And he's done it twice, I think, in the Caris, eh?
Twice, yeah.
He can play.
Yeah.
Him and Josh.
Yeah.
Can both
good
play.
Players.
Yeah, good players. It's interesting.
Tauranga, good course too.
Yeah, Royal Tauranga. Yeah.
You mentioned about you've shot 58 every
time.
Single time you've played golf.
Every time.
Another idea I had, this might be my new to golf thing. I don't know if this is where you thought I was going.
It is exactly where I thought you were going.
Instead of playing handicap to your handicap, so play your 3 handicap or your 15 handicap, I think you should add that to the par So if you're a 10 handicap, par's 71, that's 81. You play until you have 81 shots and you walk off the course. And then it's almost a race, who got the furthest on the course. And if you shoot under par, you would keep going. So I played 19.2 holes or 19.1 holes. I think that'd be a cool competition.
It would be a cool competition.
It doesn't change a whole lot, but it might just change the mindset a little bit. It'd be interesting to see how it went.
It'd be quite fun, I think.
Yeah.
Fun to do. If you're having a bad day, it'd be great because you'd be out quicker. Thank God. That day that I played a couple of weeks ago, we thank fuck for that. I'm gone, boys.
In fact, I might even miss another couple of putts if it's close to being out, just so I can walk off closer to the clubhouse.
Yeah.
But having a bad day around here means a long walk back too.
Yeah,
in the
which
back
is good.
corner of the course.
Punishment.
A bit of punishment. Think about what you've done on the way home.
So the two ideas we've got to float to the committee here are Purple Tea Day and the race to the clubhouse.
Yeah.
It's got to come up with a better name than that. But yeah, they could be two good ideas, I think, for some golf.
Yeah.
Fun.
Should we keep going while we come up with ideas? This is actually from Mike, who we're actually in his little corner, his little space here. Back in Scotland, they had the String Open. Has he told you about this one? So it happened in spring.
Did he stand up out of his desk when he told you and sort of strut around like you?
I think he did. It was pretty important.
Yeah.
So the String Open is, and this is what I can remember of it. He'll have more details. Happens in spring, but it's kind of coming out of the wet season. So there's still.
Oh, I thought you said String Open.
I did say String Open,
did.
so it's called the String Open. So
but in spring.
Yeah.
Right.
So every player gets a length of string, the same length. Every player gets the same length. I can't remember what it is. It might be, let's say, 10 feet, or it doesn't really matter what it is. It's the same for everyone. And you've got that length of string to move your ball, but you have to cut it off every time you move it. So if you move it a foot, you lose a foot of string.
Oh,
and you've got the entire round to use your length of string. So if you hit it into a tree, you might want to use all 10 metres here just so you can have another shot.
Yeah.
If you hit it to 5 feet and you want to guarantee that goes in, you cut 5 feet off and you count that as going in. So I think that can be quite interesting and pretty strategic with the way you use it.
Yeah.
But yeah, while we're solving all the competition problems,
that'll be fun. The challenge is now with handicaps and golf and people only playing on, time-wise, limited time and once a week is, you couldn't handicap that. You couldn't hand that card in for handicapping purposes, and some people get a bit uppity around, it's my day. But maybe you could have a club day which is fun, like Sunday Purple Tees, and then the String Open, and then the race. Even you and I often talk about, I love Ambrose. I want to play way more Ambrose events because it's fun. You get to interact with your mates. You get to talk about shots. You get to have some bad ones and it doesn't matter.
You're not trying to get in my head the whole time.
Well, probably still a little bit. But everything seems... What are we playing this week? Oh, we're playing Stableford. Oh, great. What are we playing this week? Oh, it's Stableford. And then occasionally we'll just throw a little net in there, monthly medal once a month.
Yeah.
But I reckon that'd be way more fun doing stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. We have a cup that we play for, which is great fun, isn't it? You actually hold the trophy at the moment.
What trophy?
It's called the Estate Cup.
Yeah, where's the trophy?
Yeah, I think Leachy lost it. That's why I'm not helping him move.
finally
You might
won
find it this weekend.
We finally won it, and we didn't get presented it.
You might find it this weekend, moving house.
I hope so.
But we play the first 6 holes are best ball. The next 6 are Ambrose, and then the final 6 Canadian foursomes. And you got to use 3 of each in the Ambrose and the Canadian foursomes. And it's so much fun, eh? Like,
for about 13 holes it is.
Yeah, you and Alex get a bit bloody miserable and pear-shaped.
After the best ball and Ambrose, it's great. We'll be 5 up, knowing we're going to lose in Canadian foursomes.
Yeah, you fight a lot, you two.
Do we?
Yeah, really. You go really quiet and a bit sulky on each other. But Leachy actually went a bit down last time, eh? He went a bit rogue. He just fucking gapped her.
Yeah, he did. He did.
But even stuff like that, like, it's so much fun. It's so much better than just... Even after an Ambrose, like, the chat in the clubhouse is always better because people are laughing about shots and not miserable about their game. Like, anyway.
What else have you got on your list of stuff there?
Well, I did think two things. Kazuma Kabori, just to our normal theme of what is everyone doing around the world, Kazuma Kabori and Josh Bai are playing in the US Amateur, which starts tomorrow morning, New Zealand time. Well, US time and New Zealand time, because it starts tomorrow. It's the same time wherever you are. Anyway, Kazuma's off at about 7:30 and Josh at about 12:30. AIG Women's Open last week. Lydia unfortunately missed the cut there.
Yeah.
But the girl won by 6 shots.
Kind of mirrored the men's open a little bit.
Although she was tied going into the last round with Charlie Harlow. And this, I think she's finished runner-up twice now.
Has she?
In majors, the last 2 majors maybe. And the name Lilia Vu. We've got a girl in our national squad called Vivian Liu, and it was kind of like freaking me out a bit. Like, oh, what's happening here? Could be a sign for the future. Go Viv. But that's her second major. Pretty impressive to shoot. What did she shoot? 5 under, and
5 under
Charlie Harlow,
round.
I think, shot 1 over to lose by 6. Otherwise, what else have we got around the world? I think that's about it for the Kiwis. Josh and Kazuma head home after massive 2 or 3 months in the States. Josh into the USA. Kazuma qualified for the USAM through an event. Finished, I don't know where he finished, but he had to finish top 3 out of 140 people to get in, so he did that. And then Josh got in by virtue of his finish at the US Junior Amateur, which is pretty cool.
So even though Kazuma finished top of that Elite Amateur Series and won the Western Am, that still wasn't enough?
That would have been, but he'd already qualified prior to that, So winning that, he gets a PGA Tour start. Did we go over that last week?
You mentioned that.
Yeah,
we talked about it briefly.
Yeah, not sure where that is yet, but...
yes, I do know.
Do you?
Yeah.
How do you know?
Say. One of the posts, yeah. It was on one of the posts.
Oh,
it did
nice.
say.
I'll have a look at that.
Yeah. Lost it from the top of the... Can't think of it. But it did say what it was. What are we thinking about Kazuma's chances at the USAM?
High.
Pretty high.
Yeah.
So is it stroke play to get into the match play?
Yep. So 32 rounds, 36 holes, top 64. The challenge with match play is it's pretty hit and miss. Like the thing with the Western Amateur, and so the counter argument to that is he won the Western Amateur, which is a match play event. But equally, it's 4 rounds of stroke play where they take the top 16. It's probably got the second strongest field in US and the amateur golf in US. So he's already played 4 rounds of stroke play to become top 16. And then you're going head to head with guys who were also in the top 16. Whereas, and there's only, round of 16, 8, 4, 2, and you've got it. So, yes, he won it. Do we look at match play? It's a bit of a shame in some ways because I don't think match play always gets you. I don't think match play often gets you the champion golfer. The British Amateur or the Amateur Championship, as your friend Michael would have us call it, is match play. New Zealand Amateur is match play. US Amateur is match play. Traditionally, it's the way, it's how it's always been done and it's tradition, and that's all really cool. Interestingly, Kazuma won the Australian Amateur this year, and that is just 4 rounds of stroke play. There's no match play in that because they just decided, well, we want our Australian Amateur champion to be the best golfer, and the way to find that out is probably not match play because you can shoot 5 over and play Tiger Woods that day and he shot 6 over and you beat him. Or you can shoot 6 under and you play Tiger Woods that day and he shot 7 under and you're knocked out of the tournament, but some upper that shot 5 over gets through. So, because it is still the US Amateur, it is still the biggest event, by all means want him to win and go well, but it's a funny one. And with so much importance placed nowadays on amateur rankings and results at events like this, if there was none of that, I would say, yeah, cool, just have it at a match play event. It's fine, it's lovely, but if you're genuinely trying to find your champion golfer of your country, I think put it on a challenging golf course and make it 4 rounds of stroke play, and you're more likely to find the best winner. And to that point that we talked about when I was caddying for Brownie, and he said, look at the leaderboard. Like I said, this course is way too hard, it's a joke. And he went, look at the leaderboard, if it was a joke, and those names wouldn't be up. So the PGA, the US PGA, the major championship, that used to be a major, but they changed that to 70-12 stroke play for the same reason, I'd imagine, and there's a logistical thing. So yeah, match play for me is a bit, I love playing it because I think it's fun, but not when there's the shit on the line that these guys are playing for.
Yeah, it'd be cool if the amateur rankings went off the stroke play, if they do play 4 rounds of stroke play.
Yeah.
Or, no, do they play 36 holes?
36, yeah.
Even just go off that 36 holes and then have at it for the match play for the
Yeah.
trophy, but almost go the rankings that. Because we talked about this last time, but the variance. So what match play is it just increases variance. It's like T20. So who's the best cricket team? Is it one that can win a 5-day test match where you have to go through so many ebbs and flows? Or is it a T20 where one guy has a day, game's gone? It doesn't matter how well you played. Like you said, you could shoot 7 under. If some guy shoots 8 under, if you do that over 4 rounds, well done, mate. And But you just got hot over 6 holes and went 7 under through 6 holes, and that was enough to get the job done. So it adds we talked about it, we adds that variance. It's a shorter form. It's over one, even though you've got to win 5 matches, it's over 1 round, and you have to be good for that small amount of time.
Dan Hillier actually won the medalist. So the medalist is the low stroke play. Dan Hillier won that at the US Open at Pebble Beach in maybe 2018. But I want to say lost in the first round, or if he didn't, it might have been the second round. Sam Jones last year at the US Mid-Am won the medalist at US Mid-Am, and same thing, lost first round, and gets average ranking points because he lost first round, but he won the bloody stroke play, the bit that
he goes against the guy who's got nothing to lose, who's just played average for 2 days, and comes out as a good third round almost.
Yeah, and then, but over, as you say, if they both played the next day, anyway. So, look, it's fun to play. It's cool to play match play, but you should be place as much value on it. It's a shame. I can just hear the older folk traditionalists thinking, New Zealand amateur champion, but don't know if it's always your best golfer. But hopefully Kazuma wins, and in which case I'll claim that yes, he is the best golfer. Or Josh, of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Lovely.
Is that all you got?
I don't really have anything else. I really just write down random shit in case you bring something up.
Like what?
No, I don't really know. No. Can't even read my writing for the most part. I did have that scratch stuff that interested me around the 90% of the distance. So, I think that would be a good thing.
Yeah. I'll be keen to dig into that through the week and
see
where we get to.
Well, you've got to do a bit of practice too, remember. You can't just show up and think, yes you do. No, you can't just show up and think that all of a sudden, because you're actually using your brain, you will be better, but you've still got some gaps, I think.
No, I don't. You think that. I don't turn up thinking that that's going to change. You think that I'm going to turn up and shoot a good score. I'm shoot 77 and I go, that's pretty much how good I am.
Nah, bollocks.
You think, oh, he'll turn up and shoot 68. I was like, why? No way. Because I'll fat a wedge and I'll thin.
So you got a bit of practice to do. Which is fine. Yeah. It's exciting.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Should we mention what's up by the door of our office up there?
The fire alarm.
Nah, just above that. So we have a competition in the office every month. The photo of the month competition.
Yeah.
I won it this month.
Yeah.
It's an outstanding photo.
It's not.
What's wrong?
It's the same photo that I took a year ago.
I wasn't here a year ago.
And won photo of the month. And
I wasn't
you
here
entered late.
There's no rules.
There are rules. There's enter by 4 p.m. Wednesday. At about 5:30 on Wednesday, you entered your photo. And the other rule is you have to leave the office, because everyone kicked up a fuss that I won the photo of the month without leaving the office. So not only did you not leave the office, you took the same photo that I took. I'm not angry, Scott. I'm just disappointed. And then you entered late.
So I didn't know it was the same photo you took because I wasn't here then.
You would have heard. I tell everybody when I win something, we would have talked
But
about
I
it ad
explained
nauseam.
that the photo deadline was 4 o'clock, but I saw a rainbow brewing.
You are so full of shit.
I
I'm
saw a
out.
rainbow
Nah,
brewing,
look at that,
and I
it's time to
thought
go.
it would be better if
don't
I
care,
waited.
man.
So I walked
I
outside the
don't care,
office,
I'm
didn't
busy.
take it inside the office, and took a brilliant photo and won the Photo of the Month competition.
It was a shit photo.
It's a great photo. You're right?
I'm going home. Great to chat though.
Yeah, good. All right.
See you next time.
See you next Tuesday.